before I leave out. Make sure that I look good. All right, so here's the thing. If I was, so people always ask me, they say, "Hey, Ty, you've had a lot of success with business and digital publishing, um, and then just life in general, family and everything else." So they always ask me if I were to start all over again, what would I do? Right? What would I do? Um, the answer kind of varies, right? So if I was this video is specifically for people that are between the ages of 25 and 45. Oh my God, we got to get a cover over this pool because the leaves are starting to drop and it's looking crazy. So why am I qualified to share this advice, this video, right? Well, a little bit over the age that I'm going to be sharing this advice for. I've been married for 20 years to the same person, maybe one time, right? We've been in a relationship for about 25 years or so. I've done really well by standards in business, really, 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 really well. And I've had a few different types of business, and I'm actually going to put in my shoes because I'm heading to the gym, as I said. I've had a few different types of businesses, and there's one type that I really enjoy, that I really love, that I'm really passionate about. It allows me to not only do well, but also allows me to have my time with my family, my time to myself. Today's a Wednesday. On Wednesdays, I really don't do much. I kind of let the day take me, and um, and then just go from there. So that business for me would be a digital publishing business where I am actually selling digital products. I'm selling things that are intangible in exchange for money that I can actually spend in real life, right? And I got started with this. I first got started with digital publishing a while back, and I got started with it, to be honest with you, almost by accident. So I had a record label that I owned. It was a hip hop record label, and I had some friends that I grew up with where they were extremely talented. These are extremely talented guys, and we ended up starting a record label. I took some of my money that I made working at Walgreens Pharmacy as a stock person and as a manager, and put it into this record label. We had a lot of fun with the record label. We would go to radio stations. We would be in the studio all night until like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Actually lost one of my earlier relationships because of that. She didn't believe that I was in this, that someone would be able to spend that much time in the studio, but it was a really good time. I gotta make sure I got my keys. It was an incredibly good time. And so as a result of that, people would always ask me questions like, "Hey Ty, how do you go in and start a label? How do you make sure that your artists are gonna show up on time to the studio? How do you get them booked on the radio?" And all these things that I had success with. And after years and years and years and years and years of people asking me these questions, I finally said, "You know what? I'm gonna publish. I'm gonna publish some books." So at that time, I'm publishing these physical books, and I'm taking all of my knowledge and I'm putting them into these physical books. And then I was always someone who loved um, studying and improving myself, right? Hence going to the gym now. So I started to then create courses, and that's where I really started to get involved with the thing that I'm really passionate about, and that I think that every single person, regardless of age, regardless of experience, should have as some type of main business or your side hustle, and that's digital publishing. Like you can take your knowledge and you can put it into a digital format where people will actually pay you for that knowledge. It is almost insane. Like I've been doing it for. Hopefully, I didn't lose the video. But you might be at an age where you're like, "Hey, Ty, man, I don't have anything that I, man, I don't have anything that I enjoy. I don't have anything that I'm passionate about. I don't have any." And I'm here to tell you that that's actually not true because uh, I used to love comic books. Like I used to love reading comic books. I used to love collecting like action figures and things like that. And you know, at that time, I could have created a digital publishing business around those things. Comic books and um, creating toys or collecting toys and action figures and things of that sort. Because there was a company that I used to buy a lot of things from that were doing just that. So sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. Now that's the first thing. So if I was someone that was between the ages of 25 and 45, I would go in and create a digital publishing business. I don't think that there's any other business out there. Now, of course, I'm an expert, right? I got to throw a disclaimer out there. And this is just my own opinion. I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to go out and make millions of dollars like I did, or that you're going to enjoy it, or that you're going to, hell, even be successful at it. I'm just telling you what I would do if I was 25 to 45 and I was starting all over again. I would definitely go in money. But this is something that you don't need a lot of money to start with, right? Because you're selling digital content. It's also something where, again, with AI, you can create products almost on the fly now. Like you can literally go in and if you know how to use ChatGPT, you know how to use Gemini, you can go in and you can create products almost on the fly now. Right? So there's literally no barriers here. You go in, you get a free ChatGPT account, you get a free Gemini account. Well, I don't know if Gemini has free accounts available. I know I spend $20 a month on mine. But you go in and you start using AI, you start using platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, 11 Labs to help you create your content, your courses. And there's so many different places that you can publish this stuff on. You can publish it on Amazon, of course, right? As a Kindle book. You could publish it as a physical book. You could publish it on Audible, right? Using their ACX option. You could publish it on a platform like Udemy. You could publish it on um, just so many different platforms that are out there. Now, the other thing that I would do is if I was between the ages of 25 and 45, starting a digital publishing business, I would really double down. Like one of the things that allowed me to have a lot of success in a rather short period of time was being laser focused, like going into monk mode, and you're gonna get hell from it. You're gonna get flack from it, and anything that you go in and you focus on, you put your effort and you put your energy into, you're going to get a level of flack for it. So I remember, like really, I remember the point where I said, you know what, I'm gonna stop hanging out as much with my friends. I'm gonna stop going to parties. I'm gonna stop going to. I never went to bars and things like that much. That just wasn't something that attracted me. Um, but I'm gonna double down and get laser focused on my business, and I could start seeing the resistance in people. I could start seeing where, people would say slick things. Oh man, you've changed, or you're changing, right? And in my head, I'm like, of course I want to change, right? Because I came from a very like a it was a great area, good people, but also a very impoverished area. So of course you want to change, you want to better yourself, right? But you'll notice that as you start to want more, do better, achieve a little bit more, you'll start to get resistance. And that resistance will come in the form of people that have known you for a while and they're just a little bit uncomfortable with the changes that you're making because um, I think that, look, people just want us to stay the same. They want us to remain who we are. The other thing is people get afraid. Like when we start to elevate and we start to change and we start to do a little bit better, people will get afraid because it's a reminder to them that you're no different than them. Like you're really no different than them, and if you could do it, they could do it. There's possibilities, right? So people they they don't like that uncomfortableness, right? We don't know how to process it. So again, if I was between the ages of 25 and 45, I would start a digital publishing business. You guys have like social media right now, like you got YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Um, I would use that to get the word out about it, right? I would double down. I would go hard. I would get rid of the things that don't serve you, and I would it takes a very short amount of concentrated time and effort to see
great levels of success. A very short amount of concentrated time and effort where you're like laser focused and none of the distractions are allowed and you're like very way off in your peripheral. Not you allow no distractions to be in your main center of focus. And when you do that, some incredible things start to happen. So those are the things that I did, right? So I started to get rid of, not get rid of, but disassociate myself with things that didn't serve me, and then just double down on business and double down on improving myself, double down on, um, you know, being there for my family, my wife. And when you do that at an early age, at 25 to 45, you start to see some miracles and apparent miracles that happen and take place. So that's that's everything that I would do. Now, in addition to that, I would also make it my mission to serve people. So when you start to serve people, and when I say serve people, you hear people talk about serving people all the time. I'm talking about serving people from a genuine, true, um, just being honest and being true with it, right? Just truly being yourself. And when you do that, like it comes natural to you. You don't have to fake. So when you don't have to fake, it's just easy to be able to go out there and say, look, folks, this is what I'm doing. Like, it's easy for me to tell you guys, this is what has worked incredibly well for me. This is what continues to work incredibly well for me, right? It is doubling down on my efforts. It is talking about the things that you know. It is, for me, it's digital publishing. It is being able to go in and create content in the form of courses and memberships and coaching programs and live events, virtual events. Like those are the things that I can go in and I can have an impact in other people's lives, right? So when you start to do that and it's coming from a real genuine place, you can speak about it freely. It feels good to speak about it. And then you're gonna have those individuals that actually take what you're saying and they're gonna apply it, and you'll see changes in their life. One of the best feelings is to be able to go in and have an impact on someone else's life. Um, Now, again, if I was 25 to 45, the other thing that I would do is, and sometimes you don't know this until you get older, is I would worry less and care less. And I don't mean this in a negative sense, but I would worry and care less about what people think about me. Especially if you know that you're doing good, like if you know you're not doing anything that's harmful. My mom used to say when she was alive, she would say, um, you know, do the best that you can and make sure that you're not doing anything that is causing any type of negativity to anyone, right? And I think that when you do that, then man, what are you worried about? Like, what are you concerned about? Even creating videos like this, right? But like sometimes we will have a desire to do something, and then we are so worried about what other people are going to think about us to the point where we stifle ourselves, and we never allow ourselves to be able to really tap into our greatness and the possibilities of who we could be because we're so concerned with what our aunt might think of us or our brother or your wife or your husband or whatever it might be. I remember for a very long time, even after me and my wife were married for I don't know 5 6 years, I had reservations about writing my goals out. One of the things I do now is I write my goals and I have affirmations on my bathroom mirror on my side of the bathroom, right? So I have gas markers and then I write them out, right? And for a long time, I had reservations about doing that because I'm like, oh my God, what is my wife gonna think? Or what if she brings someone into our bathroom and they see this, what are they going to think? And it's been one of the most impactful things for me ever is to wake up first thing in the morning and you see your goals, you see these affirmations, right? If the ancestors did it, you could do it. Do the inverse, right? Which is something that I'll talk about in another video. Do the inverse is wherever you want to get to in business, you do the inverse that will allow you to get there, right? Which is a strategy that I use. But all of these things, seeing them first thing in the morning or seeing them last thing at night before I go to sleep has really impacted me and it's helped me. But for years, I had reservations about doing it, right? So there will be many things that we know that can move the needle for us, that we know that can help us, but we just don't do it, man, because we're just so afraid of what other people are gonna think of us. So again, if I was someone that was between 25 and 45, as early as possible, I would get past what I thought other people thought of me. Because to be honest with you, people are really not too concerned with you. People are really concerned about what they think other people are thinking about them. So you see, it becomes like this type of weird loop. We're all concerned with what other people are concerned with us. All right. And in reality, no one's really concerned with us because they're thinking about what other people are thinking about them. All right. So I would do that. The other thing that I would do, and this is something that really helped me out big time, and I got this from my mom early on. I got this from my mom like in my teens and in my 20s. She would always say, live off of as little as possible. Right. So I got very used to living off of like 30% of what I made. Right. So 30% of what I make. And to this day, we have very little expenses in terms of what we make revenue wise. Right. So I think that when you learn to really exercise the discipline over your finances, um, the need to want and have things, you do really well, and you don't put yourself in these situations of crisis when a crisis arises, right? I remember before starting my digital publishing business, like, and being um, someone who didn't have a lot of finances, a $200 emergency became a crisis for me. Like me needing a brake job on my car was a crisis, or if the alternator or the starter went out, it was a crisis, right? So I learned to live off of just 30% of the income that I generated, and it was just one of the best things ever. And then now, initially, it's not something easy to do because you have to develop the mindset. And number two, it's not easy to do if you're not making a lot of money, right? Let's be honest with you. So if you're only making a couple $100 a week or so, or if you're making more than that and your expenses are, just there, it's impossible to do it. But the way that you do that is you find ways to generate more revenue, right? One of those ways could be starting a digital publishing business. And if you do something and it has that potential to generate that revenue for you, where you start to now make more money than what your expenses are, you now start to save that additional money, right? Reinvest it back into your business, and then you start to develop that habit of living off of the 30% of the income that you make. So now, as you start to make more money, and for me, as I started to make more and more money, now that 30% became even a smaller number. So now I can learn how to live off of 20% of what I make, right? Or learn how to live off of 10% of what I make because I'm now making more money and my expenses are nowhere near the amount of money that I'm making. So one of the best pieces of advice that I got at an early age was that from my mother. Learn to live off of the 25%, 30% of your income and develop that habit. And as you get older, when things happen, because things will happen, there will be a medical emergency, there will be family members that need things, there will be uh, big things that require money. Now you're in a good position because you've saved and you've invested your money in the right way. You've put it into other things, you've put it into other income producing assets, and now you're good, right? You don't have that worry where um, money is an issue. And that's the best thing ever because, money being an issue causes there's so many problems. You'll see that uh, you know, people get divorced over money. People lose good friends over money, right? All types of things. People stress out over money. But if you learn to be a good caretaker of your finances early on, um, you'll be in a good spot. The other thing is, it does not. When you are good with your money, very few things look good to you. Meaning, very few things are attractive to you, right? So when you can go in and you can buy things, they're not as attractive to you. I remember when I didn't have money, I wanted everything because I just couldn't afford it. But then when you get to a point where you could afford it, like the cars and all, I like really nice houses. I do like property, so that I do like. But the other stuff, like all of the other stuff, doesn't really matter to you as much because it's like it's not out of reach anymore. All right. Now, the next thing that I would do is, as you start to make more money, double down in your business. And I think very few people talk about this. Like when you have a business or you have something, and you have to be smart about this. When you have a business, you have a product that's selling well in your digital publishing business, double down on putting more money, putting more visibility behind that product. And I'll see where people will make the mistake of when they start to do good in business, instead of focusing on that one product or service that's selling well for them, they'll go in and they'll say, okay, well now, and I made this mistake. They'll go in and they'll say, okay, I want to expand now, and I want to start adding more products on, right? I want to start adding more services on. And they don't realize that there's so many people that have not yet seen the one product or the one service that they already have that's already doing good. Like, why go in and add on to other things that you now have to start marketing? You have to start creating visibility for that you don't know are going to sell yet. You don't know if there's going to be an audience for it. When you have one thing that people already love, it's already proven to sell. You go in, look, there's 7 or 8 billion people on this earth. You go in and you make it your mission to try to get as many people as possible to notice and to purchase that thing, right? So that's a mistake that a lot of people make in business. And again, if I was between the ages of 25 to 45, I'll really go hard on finding that thing that does really well, and boom, doubling back on it and reinvesting my money and putting money back into it and getting as much money as possible. One of the first products that I had was, again, because I was in the music business, right? So one of the first products that I developed was a software program, and it was called 101 Music Business Contracts. I paid a company out in, well, first let me tell you how I got started with that idea. Again, having a record label, people would always come to me and say, "Hey, Ty, well, how can I get contracts and agreements for my artists? How can I get booking contracts? How can I get studio agreements? How can I get management contracts in place?" And it was expensive as it is today to hire an attorney to go in and draft contracts. So I actually had hired an attorney who was an entertainment attorney of mine, but I was using this. This was a guy. I used to go to Medgar Evers in Brooklyn for a short minute to study music business. And I said, look, if you can give me 101 contracts, I'll pay you $5,000. Just give me the ability to reuse your contract. So, well, we made this agreement. I hired a company out of India, and I think I paid them like $300 or something. It was an incredibly small amount of money now that I think about it. And they took all of these contracts, they put them into a software program, and that software program, they had two, I had two versions. I had a PC version, I had a Mac version. Um, and I would sell that software program. I owned the rights to it, and I would sell that software program. And that software program allowed people to go in and create custom contracts that was geared towards them. All types of, I had 101 different types of contracts. And I did really well with that, right? Think about it. There's no cost to it because you're selling something that's intangible. Well, actually, I sold it in a CD format initially, but then I had a digital format available. And if I knew what I know now, instead of going and expanding into other businesses as quickly as I did, I would have doubled down and put every dollar I could into that program, into marketing that program, because it did so well for me, right? It did so well. And yeah, it is starting out early and learning these types of things, and then just doubling down and again just having that singular focus. It's just like this stuff could be applied to almost anything in life. Having singular focus in your relationship. Like, you wouldn't go in and have a desire to have 4 or 5 husbands. You wouldn't go in and have a desire to have 4 or 5 wives, right? So it's having that singular relationship so that you can make the best out of your relationship. So the same thing in business, having that singular focus with the one or two products that are going to serve you the best, and then just doubling down on those and making sure that you're putting all of your effort into marketing them, making sure that you're putting all of your effort into making sure that the end user of those products get the best results possible. And again, being truly genuine and authentic to yourself. And then last but not least, what I would do is I would really put effort into learning how to get visibility on social media, how to use TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and Snapchat and all of the platforms that are out there that are to come, right? That will come, that will be the next Facebook, or that will be the next Snapchat or YouTube or TikTok. And really getting an edge on them to a point where you master this stuff and you master it in a way to reach your audience. It is one of the easiest ways to get attention to get the attention of people that know, like, and trust you, and to get the attention of people that will will gravitate towards you. Like, you don't need to have everyone. You just need to find people that are really part of your crew. And what I mean by part of your crew, people that will listen to you for who you are. Like, there will be something about you that they'll kind of gravitate towards. And those are the people that I think you should really focus on. Those are the people that will become your customers. Those are the people that will go in and share with other people what it is that they like about you, what it is that they like about your business, and what it is that they like about your products and your services. So there you go. If I was 25 to 45, those are the things that I would do. Let me know which one of those things do you like the best. And even if you're not 25 to 45, these are things that you can practice, right? I still practice them in my everyday life now. I am 52. Sometimes I got to think about it because I feel like I'm 27. Um, and when you do this stuff, it works out really, really, really well. So let me know which one would you apply, which one resonates with you the most. Please go in and like this video so that we can let whichever platform you're watching it on know that you guys are doing something today that can elevate you, that can lift you, and that can help you out. I'm over here at Planet Fitness. If you're around, come over and join me. Let's get our workout in together. All right, we'll see you. Stay well. Bye. Like this video. Subscribe.